Hello and welcome to the news at 10 on Nta News 24. We're live in Abuja. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Thanks for joining us. Let's begin with the headlines. INEC declares All Progressives Congress candidate Monday Okpebholo winner of Edo State governorship election. Vice President Kashim Shettima arrives New York for United Nations 79th General Assembly. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency intercepts opioids, makes arrests nationwide. Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission takes dams revitalization drive to Kogi State. We begin in Edo State, where the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Monday Okpebholo, winner of the Edo State governorship election. The APC candidates scored 291,667 votes to defeat the PDP candidates, which scored 247,274 votes, while the Labour Party came a distant third, scoring 20,763 votes.
We'll have all the wisdom. God will enrich you with greater wisdom. Amen. Greater intelligence. Amen. Compassion. Amen. Human touch. Amen. Human feeling. Amen. Love for children. Amen. Love for the youth. Amen. Love for the elderly. Amen. Love for market women. Amen. Love for idol artisans. Amen.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu congratulates Senator Monday Okpebholo of the All Progressives Congress in Saturday's Edo governorship election on his victory at the polls. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President's Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the President commends APC national leaders, Edo State leaders, and party governors for working hard to achieve the victory. He says the victory testifies to the people's support for the ruling party, its progressive ideals, its economic re-engineering program, and its commitment to improving the lives of Nigerians. He urges Senator Okpebholo not to gloat over his victory, but to see it as a challenging call to service, as he encourages him to demonstrate magnanimity by reaching out to his political rivals and uniting the people of Edo State to ensure its development. President Tinubu also praises other candidates who participated in the election for their contributions to advancing Nigeria's democracy, saying peaceful political contests such as the one on Saturday portray Nigeria as a stable democracy. The president urges all those aggrieved by the election outcome to seek redress through legal channels. He also commends INEC and security agencies for working round the clock to conduct a successful, peaceful, and largely hitch-free exercise. Well, on its part, the People's Democratic Party has rejected INEC's results of the September 21st Edo governorship election. State chairman of the party, Dr. Tony Aziegbemi, stated this position while briefing journalists in Benin City. Good luck in 90 reports.
The party chairman alleged that the electoral officers appointed for the exercise made entries that were totally different from the INEC RF in favor of the APC and demanded the recollation and recomputation of INEC results. Similarly, PDP governors have described the alleged disruption of the collation of Edo governorship election results by INEC as illegal and not in consonance with the Electoral Act. Governor Ahmadu Fintiri of Adamawa State, alongside the governor of Delta State and other party chieftains, stated this in a press briefing in Benin City.
The collation process was violently interrupted in several local government areas across the state. in Edo South local government. Collation process were stopped in Oredo and Opawaha and Ego, and moved illegally to the state headquarters of the State Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Benin, in complete breach of the statutory collation process. Agents of the PDP were not allowed into INEC state office for the exercise.
In Benin, Goodluck Enaini, Nta News.
Well, the wait is over. A new governor-elect has been announced. Senator Monday Okpebholo of the All Progressives Congress will now be the #1 man of the state for the next 4 years after the expiration of the tenure of Governor Godwin Obaseki. Anwuli Okolo is on the streets of Benin to get reactions.
Shouts and dances of jubilation. Months of planning, weeks of campaigning, days of voting and collating, the result is satisfying for the APC supporters.
The result here today for the APC supporters is satisfying. You can see them jubilating on the streets. They're looking forward to the next 4 years. For them, it's the next 4 years of development for the state that they all love.
The APC all the way, that's my job. Our candidate has a good mind, and he can manage Edo State resources well. People will benefit from his leadership.
The call is for all parties, including the winning party, to exercise caution in their post-election activities and maintain peace in the state. In Benin, Anwuli Okolo, Nta News.
Let's go to the United States now. Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima has arrived in New York ahead of the 79th United Nations General Assembly. He was received at the John F. Kennedy Airport by Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, and other officials of the Nigerian mission in the United States. The Vice President is leading Nigeria's delegation as directed by President Bola Tinubu, and he is expected to deliver Nigeria's national statement to the General Assembly, attend important sideline events, and also hold bilateral meetings. The high-level general debates with the theme, Leaving No One Behind, acting together for the advancement of peace, sustainable development, and human dignity for present and future generations, will run from Tuesday, September 24th through Saturday, September 28th. Meanwhile, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has begun her engagements on the sidelines of the 79th United Nations General Assembly in New York. She is attending a high-level dinner hosted by the Organization of African First Ladies for Development, OFLAD, with the theme, Empowering Africa's Future Through Education. It is time to act for early years. Her engagements on Monday followed a roundtable lunch hosted by the Rockefeller Foundation, which focuses on enhancing education through climate-friendly school meals. She is also scheduled to hold meetings with the First Ladies of Turkey and Ukraine. The We Are Equal campaign of OFLAD will again take center stage, with the body deliberating on how to amplify change through collaboration. Before leaving New York, the First Lady, the global and national Stop TB champion, will be the keynote speaker at a Stop TB partnership event. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Legal, Research and Compliance Matters in the Office of the Vice President, Bashir Meidugu, has restated the federal government's commitment towards taking steps that would forestall any future collapse of dams and its consequences. He was speaking at an emergency and flood disaster victim support program in Abuja. The event, which is the fourth in its series, was majorly to transport relief materials canvassed by the grassroots mobilizers for Better Nigeria initiative in collaboration with Fatmobu Dikwa Foundation for the Needy from Abuja to Maiduguri, the Borno state capital.
And it's an inspiration, and it's a gesture that must be commended by everybody for an individual to continually, consistently think of helping his people, his or her people. Ambassador Fatima Mohammed Goni has been doing that for many years, close to 35 years now, and she's not tired. And I will urge each one of us to emulate her gesture. We know what happened in Maiduguri, and the government is doing everything possible to ensure that this thing is not repeated.
Founder of the initiative, Ambassador Fatima Mohammed Goni, re-emphasized the need to keep up supports to the less privileged members of society. Speaking through the Director of Contact and Mobilization of the initiative, Rizkatu Abdulaziz, the victims of the Borno State flood disaster must be supported in addition to ongoing efforts by both the Borno State and federal governments, as well as good-spirited individuals.
We've been doing helping the underserved, taking care of the out-of-school children, taking care of the less privileged in the society.
The benefit of this intervention to our NGO is that we are bridging the gap through direct intervention as at when needed.
Now, water issues in Nta local government area of Kogi State are set to be resolved as the Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, HYPODEC, has visited the waterworks to begin its revitalization. Jonathan Omajali reports.
The Ida Water Works facility now lies in a state of neglect, threatened by an encroaching gully that could eventually consume it if not controlled. The nearby river, once essential, now flows with little purpose in the absence of the facility. It has been 12 years since the tanks and pipes here last supplied water to the people of Ida, prompting them to issue an urgent call for assistance to the Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, HYPODEC. Responding to the plea, a team from HYPODEC led by the Managing Director, Abubakar Sadiq Yawa, along with representatives from the State Ministry of Water Resources and Environment, visited the site. What they found was disheartening. Many of the facilities had either been stolen, were in a state of disrepair, or in need of a complete overhaul. The Managing Director acknowledged the extensive work required, but assured that the situation was not beyond saving.
I have seen a facility that has the capacity to improve on the life of the people, if only given the attention it requires. I'm therefore delighted with the commitment of the state government by instructing the State Ministry of Water Resources to collaborate with HYPODEC and see what we can do to ameliorate the situation.
With their intervention and in collaboration with the state government, we will synergize and see to it they are being brought to the standard expected for the general use of the people.
The Managing Director also urged residents to take flood warnings seriously.
As those that are staying by the river base should please move to upland.
Earlier, the team visited the palace of the Ata Igala. Jonathan Omajali, Nta News.
65 hectares of degraded land and others troubled by gully erosions in Gombe State have been restored, with another 35 hectares or more expected to be recovered by the end of the year through the federal government's CRESL intervention. More on this from Charles Alpha.
At the heart of the northeastern states in Nigeria is Gombe, a place where every landmark narrates the tale of a community striving for peace, economic prosperity and development. Yet, over 200 active gullies creating a tapestry of degradation and devastation have confronted promising communities with humanitarian crisis of enormous scale. About 8,640 persons from 720 households were reported to be directly at risk of losing their houses. But just when hope seemed lost, the federal government, through its agro-climatic resilience in semi-arid landscapes, CRESL, a federal government project supported by the World Bank, intervened. This intervention came in the form of concrete work and backfilling. a 21-kilometer drainage for these areas.
God just supported us through officials. He supported us to clean our tears. When they came, we were thinking whether they were joking, whether they were just playing.
It's actually going to cause flooding, and it will make it difficult for our children to pass through the gully. Now everything it's okay.
I want to thank Akresal for bringing this intervention to our community.
Not only has the federal government restored 65,000 degraded land in Gombe State, it is also growing seeds for afforestation across affected areas, with the people encouraged to plant trees to green more areas and mitigate flood and the erosion menace. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
This is the news at 10 on Nta News24. We'll take a short break. More reports in a moment. Welcome back. President Bola Tinubu has ordered a crackdown on cyber criminals and transnational car thieves, directing security agencies to intensify efforts to arrest and prosecute individuals involved. This follows the recent return of $180,000 and 53 stolen vehicles to Canada by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The president emphasized the need to deprive criminals of the benefits of their illegal activities and commended the EFCC for its collaboration with international partners. The crackdown aims to tackle money laundering, cybercrime, and other financial crimes, as well as to protect Nigeria's economic and financial integrity. Meanwhile, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has seized 14.9 billion naira worth of opioids and arrested individuals in a nationwide drug crackdown. The seizures include 25 million pills of Tapentadol and 350,000 bottles of codeine-based syrup at the Tinkan Port complex in Lagos. Statements by the agency says additional arrests and seizures were made in various states, including Kano, Kogi, Niger, Port Harcourt, Plateau, and Kwara. The NDLEA chairman commends the agency's officers for their operational successes and emphasized the importance of reducing both drug supply and demand through enforcement and public sensitization efforts. The newly established Muhammadu Buhari University of Transportation, Daura in Katsina State, has commenced academic activities in line with the federal government's target of producing more skills and practical youths in the country. The matriculation was chaired by the Minister of Transportation, Saeed Ahmad Al-Khali, for the university, which stands to safeguard the country's huge investments in the transportation industry. Husseini Suleiman reports.
These travelers are pursuing cutting-edge courses in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, railway engineering, aviation, logistics, transport management, seaport and dry port management, among others. As pioneers, they will set the tune for future generations, shaping the university's legacy through academic excellence and adherence to its rules and regulations.
You must therefore avoid all forms of social vices such as drug abuse, cultism, examination malpractices, and stealing.
We sincerely thank the administration of this university, particularly the Vice Chancellor, for the excellent take-up of the school or the university.
I'm feeling so excited today because I have been matriculated on Federal University of Transportation, Daura.
We have sworn that all the rules and regulations we are to abide by it.
We consider the rules and regulations of the school, inshallah.
The momentous occasion drew dignitaries, including Minister of Transportation Saidu Alkali and the Emir of Daura, Umar Farooq Umar. The ceremony showcased vibrant cultural performance and inspiring talent, igniting a sense of pride and purpose among the students. In Daura, Hussein Suleiman, NTA News.
There is need for a new character in Nigeria's education system, and the federal government has put structures in place to finalize an action plan aimed at achieving legacy goals for the sector. This is the submission of Nigeria's Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman. He made the remarks while speaking at a ministerial leadership forum hosted by Harvard Kennedy School Center for International Development. The event, part of the Global Education and Research Unleashing Potential Gear Up initiative, focuses on achieving equity and scaling successful education programs. The forum brought together 23 ministers from various countries to discuss strategies for identifying successful educational programs and ensuring equitable access for students worldwide.
Is to review, look at the intent curriculum which have been looked at in all implemented in all the schools. Now we have concluded on that. It's set for implementation from this October, this school year. Now that curriculum infuses substantially, robustly in these skills that we're talking about. So from primary school, every student will have exposure right through the secondary school to like varieties of skills.
Prominent leaders such as former Tanzanian President Jakaya Kikwete and Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Director General, World Trade Organization, also participated at the event. Damaturu in Yobe State and Maiduguri, Borno State, are out of power supply following vandalism of the tower along the Gombe-Damaturu-Maiduguri transmission line. A statement by the Transmission Company of Nigeria indicates that vandals cut off all 4 tower footing, resulting in the collapse of the tower. TCN assures that efforts are ongoing by engineers to backfeed Damaturu through a 33 kV transmission line from Patiskum, while Maiduguri town will be fed from the Maiduguri Emergency Power Plant. Meanwhile, work will commence immediately to dismantle and evacuate the collapsed tower for reconstruction and restoration of the transmission line. TCN frowns at the incessant attacks on national assets and calls on citizens to be vigilant in protecting public assets, as well as report suspicious activities or persons around transmission infrastructure to law enforcement agents or TCN offices in the relevant vicinities. We'll take another short break. More reports shortly. Stay with us.
From the creeks of the Niger Delta to the breathtaking scenery of the plateau, in noonday and nighttime, we set out to bring to you captivating stories that evoke your emotions. For fascinating documentaries and reports on day-to-day issues with expert analysis, tune in to Nta News24, DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 26, StarTimes channel 101 and 433, and Free TV channel 703.
Security now. The Chief of Defence Staff, General Christopher Musa, has reiterated the unwavering commitment of the armed forces against all adversaries, as the military will ensure the safety of the territorial integrity of Nigeria and security of Nigerians. Haruna Mohammed reports that the Chief of Defence Staff was speaking at the regimental dinner of passing out cadets of regular course 71 and direct short service course 28, Army and 32 Air Force at the Nigeria Defence Academy, Kaduna.
The arrival of the special guest of honor signaled the commencement of the regimental dinner flanked by the Commandant, Nigerian Defence Academy, other senior military officers. A toast heralded the important occasion, dinner of regular course 71 and direct short service course 28 Army, as well 32 Air Force, in line with the tradition of the military. It's now time to dine and wine with sumptuous dishes going round in honor of the graduating officer cadets who haven't concluded their military training. Time for the special guest leading the loyal toast as he steps to deliver his address to the graduates. The Chief of Defence Staff, General Christopher Musa, admonished the graduates to the importance of courage, discipline, resilience, and devotion as to the armed forces in actualization of national security.
Words of advice to the personnel cadets. Gentlemen personnel cadets, it is imperative to remind you that the armed forces of Nigeria expect so much from you in terms of regimentation. Hence, I must emphasize on the importance of discipline and integrity in service.
The graduates, to be loyal and decisive, having been equipped with knowledge, skills, and military tactics, especially now that the country is facing various internal security challenges.
You must be prepared to go through harder hurdles after your graduation from this noble institution in order to enable you to lead men effectively and courageously in the theater of operations.
It was a fun-filled night with a special guest of honor and others who distinguished themselves were presented deserving gifts. Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
The Akwa Ibom state government is enrolling all junior civil servants from levels 1 to 6 in its employment into the State Health Insurance Agency without charge for the first 1 year. The gesture is part of measures to improve the health needs of Akwa Ibom people. Kelvin Samuel reports.
Understanding the critical role the health sector plays in poverty eradication and sustainable development, the Akwa Ibom state government is exploring ways to ensure accessible and affordable quality healthcare services for the people of the state, especially the poor and vulnerable. The Akwa Ibom State Health Insurance Agency, the people therefore note, is timely.
What we're witnessing here today is one of the strongest defenses any society can make to prevent people from plunging into health poverty.
With his passion and the commitment, as we heard today from even the local government's representative, that dream is achievable.
Governor Mo Enowai, speaking at the launch of the agency, reassures the commitment of his government towards the health of its citizens through the Arise Care Insurance Scheme.
We are here to provide services for our people, and that we must do. And so let's don't take the funds that are being put in place for granted. Let's don't take it for granted at all. We must ensure that we use this fund, we run the agency, and make it extremely credible. We must make Akwa Ibom Health Insurance Agency a reference point for insurance agencies in this country.
Having already enrolled 11,000 beneficiaries, the scheme is still open for enrollment of interested individuals, families, and groups. In Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
In a bid to ease the growing burden of high food prices on Nigerians, the federal government has announced a 150-day waiver on levies, duties, VAT, and tariffs payable for select food items. The move is part of the administration's efforts to curb inflation and improve food affordability for millions across the country. In this special report, Alika Okpanachiarua takes a look at the impact of this policy on Nigerian households and their dinner tables.
Faith Oluchi is a middle-aged woman and a mother. With the skyrocketing food inflation, Faith and her husband has been spending 70% of their income on only food. This explains the federal government's recent announcement of a 150-day waiver on levies, duties, value-added tax, and tariffs on selected food items, from 5% on grain sorghum, millet, and maize to 20% duty waiver on wheat and beans and 30% waiver on husked brown rice. The idea is to bring relief to indigent Nigerians like Faith.
Presently, I'm an applicant. As you see me, I was just coming from FCDA in search of job. With this economic situation, I have children too, so I'm not finding it easy.
It's a directive that Abubakar Dairo, a farmer, says will help reduce cost of food items and alleviate the hardship on lowerly placed Nigerians.
When a lot of goods now come in to challenge our monopoly, we would have no option but to also release this produce, and it will crash the prices of food in the market. I'm confident that not only the dining table but our refrigerators and everything will also they will be smiling too. For some time they have not been smiling.
For the Nigerian Customs Service, there is a delicate balance to be struck. While it has a duty to support government food security initiatives, the integrity of Nigeria's borders and trade process must be maintained to prevent abuse of the policy, which could hurt the long-term interests of Nigerian farmers and other stakeholders involved in producing these items.
I think we have issued the guidelines, and the guidelines are not from us. We are an agency that implements government fiscal policies. It is a guideline that is produced by Federal Ministry of Finance. So ours is to implement, and while implementing, we need to explain to members of the public how you are going to benefit from this. It's based on quota, it's based on what the Ministry of Finance offers to us. That is what we implement.
The policy has also caught the eye of analysts, but they worry that the federal government's strategy, which seeks to address the high cost of food items through the tax waivers, could lead to revenue loss of about 188.37 billion naira if not properly managed.
You should have backward integration. While we're doing this, we're also planning to manufacture and be self-sustaining and close our border. Because the idea of closing the border in the first place is for our local farmers and our local manufacturers to be able to sell their goods and services.
As Nigerians continue to expect the impact of the policy on the dining tables, the economic experts are advocating improved investments in mechanized farming and incentives for farmers as long-term solutions to food shortfalls in the country. In Abuja, Alika Okpanachi, Arua, Nta News.
Now imagine having uninvited guests not only occupy your home, but also ravage your food supplies and means of livelihood. Well, this dire scenario became a reality for thousands of individuals in Maiduguri in the aftermath of the September 9th floods. Numerous residents were displaced and vast expanses of farmland laid to waste. Musa Baba Aliu in Maiduguri sheds light on how this calamity severely impacted food production and disrupted the supply chain in the state.
Often revered as a precious resource, can at times transform into a destructive force. Long-standing belief that water has no fall loses its resonance when floods devastate communities, making it an unwelcome presence. The billions of cubic meters of water that devastated the city of Maiduguri have left in their wake tears and sorrow. The water, traveling approximately 20 kilometers from the Dam, disseminated thousands of hectares of farmland before reaching the residential areas. This isn't a river or lake, but rather a cowpea plantation that succumbed to the flood. The children of the farmers noted the presence of fish in the flooded waters. Some of them are now striving to catch a few.
Our grandparents told us over 300 years they have not experienced this flood. We are not fishermen. All these fishermen that come to fish, they come to reap the opportunity. We don't know even how to catch fish.
The Mafa local government, Bulama Bukarjuru, informed me that over 1,000 farms laden with unharvested crops were ruined in the community. farmers from Jere local government area have relocated to the main road of the state capital. They not only lost their farms to the flood, but also their dwellings. The main road is now serving as their sleeping quarters and kitchen. During my visit, I encountered these three individuals jointly preparing breakfast.
We are irrigation farmers and our houses, all our water destroys. That's why we are racing in here. My family and our people, all they are living in here, sir.
Authorities are urging us to return to our homes, but currently it isn't feasible, as the structural integrity of the building need to be accessed.
Both vendors of processed and raw food are tallying their losses. This bakery, situated in Maiduguri town, has collapsed entirely. Jimre John, the manager of the bakery, said prior to the flood, the bakery was processing more than 18 bags of flour daily. We lost all our ingredients to the flood, summing up to over 20 million naira, he says. I asked the state governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, on whether the state was on the brink of a food crisis.
I cannot say so, but the plan is that this steel committee will look into this, and I think you just heard that the Minister for Agriculture has conveyed the willingness of the Agricultural Fund to work with the Borno State with a view to supporting the victims, while Borno State government is ever ready to also support the victims.
At the Ministry, we have already mandated the National Nigeria Agricultural Development Fund, which is a new organization that was set up barely a year and a half ago, to come to the aid of the farmers. That fund was set up to address some of these issues in terms of increased ramping up production of agriculture, but at the same time to see where, if there are issues like this, where there's intervention that is needed to boost agricultural production.
While the flood waters gradually subside, hundreds remain in camps, while others are temporarily residing with relatives and friends. The management, sustenance, and rehousing of the displaced individuals back in their homes persists as a formidable challenge for the government.
Thank you, Musa Babali, for that report. Have you heard about low-code, no-code development? Well, it's one of the latest technologies which experts say is a game-changing approach to building applications. In this special report, Toyiba Onifowoshe examines how this tech is democratizing software development, empowering non-technical users, and transforming industries.
Low-code, no-code development refers to an advancement in technology, which experts say makes it easier to come up with applications with minimal or no codes at all, just like this young programmer.
Low-code, no-code tools have been a game changer for me as a programmer. It is more like a building block that makes my work easier and faster. So instead of me having to write code from scratch, I get to use visual interfaces to drag and drop elements. It also helped me connect more with my non-tech colleagues in the sense that it makes it easier for them to contribute ideas to projects that we have ongoing. But don't get me wrong, I still require my tech expertise and skills for more complex jobs. But for the less complex ones, I think the low-code, no-code tools have been really effective because it makes me deliver to clients on time and also saves time. So I would say it's just like having a bit of superpower as a programmer.
The specific name low-code was not put forward until 2014, when it was used by a tech industry analyst for Forrester Research. However, experts agree that the origins of low-code tools are much older, with the earliest low-code tools appearing in the 1980s and 1990s.
Take, for example, you have a business, you're just starting up, you sell clothes on WhatsApp, you sell cosmetics and all. You just need a website to put out your brand out there, right? So this gives you an easy and accessible platform for you to build your a branding page with a very minimal cost. So the cost too is also part of the potentials, right? So you can get to just, for example, visit Wix. You get them for as little as $20. You have your site out there, right? And you can share this across to your clients for them to see your catalogs and all.
A survey carried out by KPMG reveals that 53% of companies using low-code in Europe, Middle East and Africa have made good progress in reducing their development costs. And 55% said they have been able to reduce their IT backlog. But like most technologies, it is not without its challenges.
The problem is that this low code no code gives you a set of templates most of the time for you to work within the template. And even if you decide to build from scratch with this platform, you are only limited to the widgets and the widgets and the design patterns which they provide for you.
For Nigeria, experts believe that this technology is critical in enabling digital transformation. In Abuja, Toyiba Anifowoshi, NTA News.
Nigeria's inflation rate reduced in August 2024. How did the economic managers do it? Well, Alika Okpanachi Ariwa will now tell us.
Nigeria's headline inflation rate of 32.15% in August 2024 reflects a decrease of 1.25 percentage points. This represents the second consecutive monthly slowdown in inflation after easing in the previous month. However, on a year-on-year basis, the August 2024 inflation rate was 6.35% points higher than the 25.80% rate recorded in August 2023, indicating a significant increase over the past year. On a month-on-month basis, the inflation rate in August 2024 stood at 2.22%, slightly lower than July's record of 2.28%, showing a slower pace in the increase of the average price level compared to the previous month.
We are at this point where I don't think Nigerians want to be hearing numbers again, but prices don't come down. Inflation rate might come down, but deflation in itself, which is the prices of those goods coming down, is not happening anytime soon. There's a difference between deflation and disinflation. Deflation is where the prices of those goods start coming down, which has never happened in the last decade in this country. Disinflation is where inflation is rising at a slower rate. So the only thing we need to do is, how do we peg inflation at this point? And the only way to do it is to structurally demonetize. Again, I would not go against this thing. It's just demonetized.
Despite the decrease in inflationary rates, a survey around Abuja metropolis revealed that the prices of food items are still on the rise.
It's the same thing, but things are not easy like before. The prices are a bit up now. We don't know what is causing it. I don't know whether the season or not. Like things we do buy before, it has gone up by 50%, almost 50% now.
Very expensive. Very, very expensive. This year is supposed to be like 3K, it's telling me 5K now. Things are expensive, quite expensive.
Things are adding up even times 2 more than what we have been buying.
Food inflation has become a dangerous trend in Nigeria today. And if the government can also tap into this, because subsistence farming has been a very deep engagement by families, people in the villages, people in the rural area that doesn't have the means of sustaining subsistence farming to the level of mechanization farming, because we have encouraged government in the past to focus on mechanization farming, of which they have not yet put their hands into the plow to ensure this happens. But subsistence farming on its own, being a collective farming from each household, can also be empowered to bring down food inflation.
The NBS report shows that the rise in food inflation on a year-on-year basis was caused by increase in prices of bread, maize, grains, guinea corn, yam, Irish potatoes, palm oil, vegetable and beverages like Ovaltine, Milo and Lipton, among others. In Abuja, Alika Okpanachi Ariwa, NTA News.
Aging is not a curse, but a privilege, and creating a world of better care for the elderly echoed on the September 21st, a day commemorating Global Community and observing 2024 World Alzheimer's Day. Key players in Nigeria's older persons care have been speaking on better coordination and to prioritize dementia care and services in the country. Olusheye Adiagbo reports on the commemoration of the World Alzheimer's Day in the FCT.
Alzheimer's disease is a progressive neurological disorder that affects memory, thinking, and behavior. It accounts for 60 to 80% of dementia cases. In the statistics of Alzheimer's Association, the disease, which mostly affects people above 65 years, has over 55 million people worldwide as sufferers and expected to triple by 2050. Since its establishment in 1994, the World Alzheimer's Day is dedicated to raise awareness about the disease, and this road work is championed by Need Care Fit and Fresh, with coalition of civil societies for the rights of older persons in Nigeria, Costropin and other partners.
In Nigeria, we're talking about more than 1.5, and I'm sure that is underreported. Now what we're doing now is to create awareness, and we've come across so many people who have not even heard of the word before, talk less of knowing what it is.
A lot of people that have come to work in the city, you find that most of them retired back home. So it's to join us in awareness to take this thing to the grassroots.
Former lawmaker Dr. Eze Ajoko is in his late 60s. He tells me how it has become necessary to dispel misconceptions surrounding these conditions.
And when you see an old man wandering on the road, please walk to that old person and ask him, Baba, do you know where you're going, and all that. And then see if you can search the Baba, any contact on the Baba, and take that contact and call for the family to locate the person. A lot of missing old people who walk away from their homes as a result of dementia or Alzheimer's. It just makes you don't remember anything again. So we want government to come up with support for families with Alzheimer's.
Community health workforce program is being redesigned, and a module on elderly care is being introduced to ensure that we care for the elderly in our community.
The National Senior Citizen Center is working in collaboration with civil society organizations that have purview around Alzheimer's, around dementia, to ensure that this inclusivity we are talking about, older persons are properly included, to ensure that mental health is achieved.
While institutions of the federal government are driving support programs for better treatments and care, these groups expect better coordination that prioritize dementia care and services, especially at the grassroots. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, Nta News.
This is the news at 10 on Nta News at 24. Here's a recap of our top stories. INEC declares APC candidate Monday Okpebholo winner of Edo State governorship election. Vice President Kashim Shettima has arrived in New York for United Nations 79th General Assembly. NDLEA intercepts opioids, makes several arrests nationwide. And Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission takes dams revitalization drive to Kogi State.
This is Nta News24.
Cultivating a culture of peace resonated as Nigerians clamour for it to achieve a greater society. This was during an event put together by a non-governmental organization May Peace Prevail on Earth International, an affiliate of the Public Information Departments of the United Nations. Dennis Temple reports.
Annually, the world marks the International Day of Peace. The day epitomizes the joint aspiration for a world devoid of rancor. This year, attention is particularly directed towards cultivating the culture of peace, which stakeholders believe is the basic requirement to sustainable development.
Besides, it is very pertinent to state that the ideals and purposes for which the United Nations was founded, which include promoting peace and security.
We need to develop that culture of peace.
The country representative of May Peace Prevail on Earth International, Mojima Etikudo, reminded Nigerians that the theme of this year's Peace Day resonates deeply with the current realities of the nation and the global community, stating that peace is not merely the absence of conflict, but a state of mind.
So I want to implore the leadership of our nation, Nigeria, to give a listening ear to the people. The hardship that is going on is not only a Nigerian thing, it is a global thing. We should learn from other countries. How do they overcome this?
Special awards were presented to deserving individuals who have distinguished themselves, particularly in peace building.
Accepted, highly happy, partly because for the United Nations to recognize you for this work, the little part you are doing, they will be recognized. It's highly appreciated.
Having respect for any person that is around me, because this is what really matters, and supporting all organizations that are out to build peace.
Established in 1981, the United Nations General Assembly affirmed September 21 as International Day of Peace. Dennis Temple, Nta News.
That concludes the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adegunloye.